From the beginning, being a colored, then Negro, then black, then African-American child, growing up in Mississippi, my prayer was, for as long as I can remember, God, use me. Use me, use this life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that there is a vision for my life that is greater than my imagination can hold. Use me, use me. What would you have me to do? And that dream, that desire, that prayer brought me somehow to television. And to be able to use this tremendous vehicle of television to go into people's homes and somehow be able to touch their lives and to be the beacon that Barbara was for me, to be a light of hope and understanding, to share some sense of illumination that maybe sometimes reflects people's lives and sometimes opens them up to themselves, is the greatest blessing God could have given me. And I want to continue to use television as we become more polarized in this medium. I choose to use it in whatever way we can, to make people lead better lives, to lead them to the highest vision possible for themselves. That is the goal. I thank you for this award because it encourages me to run on and see what the end will be. Thank you. Be number one. I was really very excited about it because basically the message of The Secret is the message that I've been trying to share with the world on my show for the past 21 years. The message is that you're really responsible for your life. You are responsible for your life. I've known this. I've known this since The Color Purple. In 1985, I've probably told you the story when I did The Color Purple, but in 1985, I did The Color Purple. Prior to that, I had read the book, Larry. Now, this is when I got The Secret thing, but I didn't know it was called The Secret. I read the book, The Color Purple, and then went out and got books for everybody else I knew. And I was obsessed about this story, obsessed about it. I ate, slept, thought all the time about The Color Purple. I moved to Chicago. I get a call from a casting agent asking, would I like to come and audition for a movie? I've never gotten a call in my life from anybody for a movie or anything like that. And I say, is it The Color Purple? And he says, no, it's a movie called Moonsong. And I go, well, I've been praying for The Color Purple. And I go to the audition, and of course it was The Color Purple. I audition. I don't hear anything for months. And I go to this fat farm, and I think it's because I'm fat, because I was about 212 pounds at the time. And I think I didn't get the call back because I'm so fat. And I'm at this fat farm, and I'm praying and crying, saying to God, help me let this go. Because I wanted to be in this movie so much. I wanted it, I wanted it, I wanted it. I thought I was going to be in the movie. There's all these signs that I should be in the movie. And I go to this fat farm, and I'm praying and crying. And as I'm on the track singing this song, I surrender all, I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender all. I'm singing that song, praying and crying. A woman comes out to me, and she says, on the track, it's raining, and she says, there's a phone call for you. And the phone call was Steven Spielberg saying, I want to see you in my office in California tomorrow. Now, what I learned from that, that moment absolutely changed my life forever, because I had drawn The Color Purple into my life. I didn't know Steven Spielberg. I didn't know Quincy Jones, who saw me in Chicago. In 1984, he was there for a lawsuit that was being filed against Michael Jackson because he'd been working on his Thriller album. And he saw me on AM Chicago and said, that's Sophia. Now, I didn't know him. I didn't know anybody that had anything to do with that. But I knew that I had drawn that into my life, and it changed the way I thought about my life forever.
So you're not surprised at the success of The Secret?
I'm thrilled for the success of The Secret. I think that the message needs to go further, because I think the mistake that was made with The Secret is that they tried to, don't know who they are, that they tried to let that be the answer to all questions. It's not it's just one law. The law of attraction is one law. There are many laws working in the world. But it is very true that the way you think creates reality for yourself. There are other factors going on. So it's not everything, but you really can change your own reality based on the way that you think. I come as one. but I stand as 10,000. And tonight, I stand as 10,000 to the 10th power. I remember thinking I wanted to be an actress, and my father saying, no daughter of mine is going to be laying on some casting couch. And my father, for years, I felt such shame about having brought shame to him by having a child out of wedlock that died shortly afterwards, but still the shame of it was there. So when my father said, no daughter of mine is going to be an actress, I just thought, okay, I won't be one. People doubt that your thoughts create reality for you. It doesn't. If you're just sitting around thinking, I want something, it doesn't. But there's no question, if the energy and the vibrational frequency is correct, is in sync with what is to come your way, that there is a space that you create that allows that to happen. And nothing more than the color purple explains that to me. That's what made a believer out of me. I read a review in the New York Times about the color purple on a Sunday morning. I got out of bed with my pajamas on, put the coat on over my pajamas, went to the bookstore to get the book after reading the review. I started reading it in the bookstore. Dear God, I'm 14 years old. Please tell me what's happening to me. That is my story. Oh my God. Somebody else has this story? I go home, I finish the book that day. Before the bookstore closes, I'm back in the bookstore getting every book that they had, which I think was like 8 at the time. I buy all of those books, I hand them out to everybody I know at work, and I become obsessed, literally obsessed with the color purple. And I would walk across the Wacker Street Bridge just so I could run into people who had not read the color purple. I didn't have a book club, so any way I can get you to read it is fine. And I would pass out these books. If somebody said, no, I hadn't heard of it, well, I happen to have one right here. And I heard that they were going to be doing a movie about the color purple. They was Steven Spielberg and Quincy Jones. And as it turns out, I start telling everybody, I'm going to be in that movie. I'm going to figure out a way to be in that movie. I get a call from a casting agent saying, we're casting for a movie called Moonsong. They called it Moonsong at the time. You're casting for a movie called Moonsong? You sure it's not the color purple? Because I've been praying for the color purple. He goes, no, it's Moonsong. So I go to this audition on a day in Chicago where it was 72 below zero. So cold they had ropes out to keep people from falling down. I had a cold, a sore throat, swollen, and it had wrapped my head. And it was so cold that when you walked outside, your eyelids froze. When I walked in there, I thought, oh my goodness, it is the color purple. Because I know every character. I've read the book. I read for the color purple, and not only am I reading, I'm reading like for a major role. They want me to read for Sophia. She's married to Harpo. And Harpo is my name, spelled backwards. So I think if that is not a sign from Jesus himself, I never saw a sign bigger than that. So I audition, I hear nothing. I ended up months later calling the casting agent saying, I haven't heard anything. He said, you don't call me. What are you calling me for? I call you. And we have real actresses who are auditioning for this part. Alfre Woodard just left my office, he said. She's a real actress. You have no experience. So I hung up the phone, and I knew I'm not going to get the part. So I feel really terrible. I can't even believe this. I think this is a God trick. I think, well, God, what'd you do that for? Why did you take me to the audition, and I'm auditioning, and then it's a Harpo character, and then I'm not going to get it? So I think it's because I'm fat. So I go to this fat farm, and as I am running around the track by myself on a cold, rainy Wisconsin day, I start praying to God out loud, and I say, I don't get it. I really don't get it, God, but I know you do. I don't know if this is some kind of joke or what you're doing with me, but I thought you wanted me to have this part. And I want to be in the space where I can thank you for the opportunity, but I can't now. I can't. It's too hard. Please help me let it go. Help me to let it go. And I start singing, I surrender all. I surrender all. All to thee, my blessed Savior, I surrender all. Now, that song just spontaneously came to me, but when you first start to sing it, you really can't surrender. You're just saying, okay, I'm gonna sing the song. I sang and I prayed and I sang and I prayed, and I sang and I prayed and I cried, until I could feel myself let it go and know you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. And at first I thought, you're going to be all right, but you won't be able to ever see the movie. You can't see the movie, but you'll be all right. And then I kept praying. I want to pray till I feel like I can actually go see the movie. And I will be able to bless Alfred Woodard in the role. That I'll be able to say, it's a good thing you got it. I want to be able to do that. And in the moment I can say, I can now see Alfred Woodard. I can see that can happen. And I will be okay. My life will go on, and I will not be bitter, and I will not be angry, and I will not hold that, and I will not feel for the rest of my life, she got it and I didn't. I want to have that kind of peace. And in the moment that happened to me, somebody comes running out to the track and says, there's a phone call for you. And there was Steven Spielberg calling to tell me that I hear you had a fat form. And he said, if you lose a pound, you could lose this part. And I ended up stopping at Dairy Queen to make sure I hadn't lost a pound. And the next day I was in his office at Amblin at Universal Studios and got the part. I would have to say one of the fundamental turning points in my life was The Color Purple. Nothing has had a greater impact on me, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, in determining my path. Because it literally changed my faith in that I could see it. It was real. It was real. All my life I had to fight. I had to fight my daddy. I had to fight my uncles. I had to fight my brothers. Girl, child ain't safe in the family names. But I ain't never thought I had to fight in my own house. I loves Hopper. God knows I do. But I kill him dead before I let him beat me. This life be over soon. Heaven lasts always. Girl, you ought to bash Mr. head open and think about heaven later. And I have never wanted anything as badly, as hard, as much as The Color Purple. And the wanting of it and then the surrendering of it is what taught me how to live in a space of letting go. You can dream this much, but God has a bigger dream. That The Color Purple is then setting you up for the national Oprah Winfrey show. I didn't know that at the time. So when I ask, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do this? The bigger question is, what would you, God, the universe, have me do? Your crown has been paid for. Put it on your head and wear it. And I believe I'm going to run on, see what the end will be, and keep surrendering to God's dream for me. Thank you.